Hello friends, now let us take up the first concept 13.1 polymorphism intro. In the previous concept I have given a briefing. Now in this concept I give a detailed example and a detailed explanation about mainly a runtime polymorphism. As I told you many times, always take an example. These concepts just theoretically you cannot remember. Even if you remember also, it is like a bookish stuff. You cannot convince others. That is why always take a very appropriate example, and that example should be closer to real life. The audience should understand that example. In the previous topic I have given vehicle, car, bus, bike, etc. Anybody can understand that. It reaches them very easily. In the same manner, here I am taking another example. Many examples I give you, but one thing, you think on your own, you also get good examples. When you give good example, new examples and all that, it is quite flavorish. Now, if you see this, now shape from shape class, square, triangle and circle, 3 subclasses we have created. Already in the previous chapter inheritance I explained one thing. If we have to go for inheritance, we have to implement inheritance. First, what is the test? Easier relation. Easier relation is established, you can go for inheritance. Then you can create subclasses from the superclass. Now we see square is a type of shape, triangle is a type of shape, circle is a type of shape. Okay, that is one point. Whatever we learnt and all that we apply, it is like a revision. Second one, shape. Shape is a abstract class, like animal, like vehicle. Why it is abstract? Shape, you know that, what is that? Animal, you know that, what is that? And vehicle, you know that, you are able to understand what is that. But can you draw the figure of a animal? No. Animal means you can describe, vehicle means you describe, shape means you describe, but you cannot draw it. That is why it is abstract. It is an idea, it is a concept. Okay. So, this is shape is an abstract class. In case of abstract classes, already we discussed this. Abstract class means it is incomplete class. Even 1% incompleteness is also there, we must declare it as an abstract class. From abstract classes, we cannot instantiate objects, we cannot create objects, because it is incomplete. From an incomplete blueprint, can you construct a building? It should be blueprint should be 100% complete, then only you can construct a building, okay, based on that. So, this is abstract class, it gives an idea. Now, get area. Get area is its instance method. Get area means calculating area and displaying area, just to understand its functionality like that. Now, how can we implement that? How can you implement that means you must create subclasses out of that. In subclasses you have to provide complete definitions. Then square formula is, areas formula is different, that is side into side. Here triangle, that is different, circle, that is different, you know that. Now, what we have to do here, the method should be overridden. For square class, obviously already told you, this is like a parent, shape is like a parent, your dad, then automatically square class inherits it, triangle class inherit it, circle class inherit it and can use it. So, using means actually you have to override that, square class should override that, and what is the appropriate formula it implements and displays. And as far as triangle is concerned, it implements its formula for calculating area and for displaying that, and it overrides in that manner. So, in the same manner circle also overrides get area. Okay. So, here one very important point you have to learn is square is having same method, one interface. Square is having get area, triangle class is having get area, circle class is also having the same method get area. But via all these objects we are calling get area only, one interface, and it is implemented differently. It is implemented differently. Now, the overridden, when square object calls it, it implements for square. Get area is for square, that means it calculates square area and displays square area. Triangle means it calculates the triangle area and displays it. Circle also it calculates circle area and displays it. So, get area is implemented in 3 different ways with the reference to this example. Understand? One interface, multiple forms of implementation. Here one very important point you have to already explain to you. Let us recall that. You are your father's type, you are your grandfather's type, great grandfather's type, but your father is not your type. So, as far as type is concerned, circle is shape type, triangle is shape type, square is also shape type. So, for circle 2 types are compatible, one is circle, that is obvious, second one is shape. For triangle also, triangle is its type and shape also a compatible type, and square is its type and shape also being a parent, it is compatible type. Okay, that point already I explained to you and several examples I told to you. Then what is the advantage of that? What is the context here? We have to understand. Now you see shape SP and new square, I made square, but it is perfect statement because reference is parent and object is subclass square. Now, shape get area, now I am calling. Then your doubt, which is implemented? Which is implemented means here object is square, that is why square's get area is executed, and this is the here you do not have any doubt, square via square get area we are calling, then that is automatically implemented. So, here this point especially you have to focus. Now, for any subclass, not only its type, all superclass types are compatible. So, here 2 different things you are finding. Our reference type is superclass, object type is subclass. So, when you call get area, a name is same for all 4, name is same, which is being implemented, that is your doubt. Now, whatever is the object, that is implemented. Here this object, here you never get any doubt. In this context normally you get a doubt, that is why you must have a clear knowledge over this. So, reference is compatibility sake, reference we are taking, compatibility sake we are taking reference, like surname, your surname, your father's surname, great grandfather's all surnames are same, all are compatible to you only, same name is used. So, like that. Now, here use which is implemented is very important, what is the object, that type of overridden version is implemented. So, actually in programming it is a great privilege, otherwise what happens, for every subclass, subclass, its type only, like this you have to use. It is very difficult in programming, and we never have freedom, and a lot of intricacies are developed. So, we cannot realize, we cannot enjoy the privileges provided by the inheritance, can't be enjoyed. That is why this runtime polymorphism is treated as a great feature in this. So, polymorphism can be divided into two classes. One is compile time polymorphism. It is applicable mainly, remember that, method overloading. In C++, function overloading. Here, constructor overloading. All that, and that is also known as, already explained to you, that is known as static binding. At the time of compilation only, compiler knows it, which call, which definition, which call, which definition. That is why the names, because different authors use different names, you should not get confused. Suppose if you learn only static binding or compile time binding, then what happens, you may feel that compile time binding or linking. If you learn only one name, whenever you learn these names, you feel that those are different things. That is why I am introducing all the names: static binding, early binding. Early binding means before execution only it is bound. Then static linking, compile time binding, all are applicable to method overloading. Okay. Now, what are the names of runtime polymorphism? This is late binding, dynamic method binding, or dynamic method dispatch. All these names you must remember with reference to runtime polymorphism. This is applicable, and always take example, and in the book also several other examples I have given, all that, and you may create your own example. Definitely these are all programming concepts are borrowed from the real life. So, if you have that inclination, definitely you can get better examples than this. And whenever I am telling you, in writing examinations or in facing interviews and all that, you always use examples. If you are able to use examples, the interviewer understands that you have perfect command over the subject, because once you have command over the subject, then only you can give an example. So, if you give example, your job will be lighter, easy, it is impressive, you get result. So, if you depend on, totally depending on textual content or bookish content, in no time interviewer can understand that. So, that is why always use examples, try to find out new examples and enrich your library. And when you teach the subject or in any training program, then you can enlighten the students or trainees like anything, and you establish like a good teacher.